All right, so this is dating apologetics. And what that means is you need to be able to defend your beliefs when it comes to dating and relationships in 2026. Defend your advice, defend your tips. Okay, so if I'm giving you guys dating tips, dating advice to understand modern dating, right? You have to be able to defend your beliefs. So that's why it's called dating apologetics. We're defending what we believe works best. This is centered towards family creation, traditional marriage, conservatism, Christian, Catholic, religious, right? That's the framework. The framework is not liberal. The framework is not, Buddhist or anything like that. The framework is more Christian, conservative, traditional. So that's how the advice is tailored. That's what it's meant for. So the main thing is it's your ideology, your outlook on life, what you believe, what is valuable to you, your interests. That is what's important when it comes to dating. Of course, physical attraction is necessary. That's step one. But once you get past that physical attraction, you're going to be with each other forever. That's the end goal. So you have to have the same outlook on life. You can't be someone who is Christian and be with a non-Christian because of the value system. You can't be conservative while dating a liberal. People like to think, oh, that stuff doesn't really matter. I'm not saying politically like what you see on the news. I'm talking about how you want to raise your kids, right? What you want their life to be like. Do you want the mom to stay home and homeschool the kids? Or do you want her to work? All right, so these are the things. These are the important things. Should she be on birth control, right? So the point of this stream is, again, we don't blame anybody. As men, you do not blame anybody but yourself. Don't blame society. Don't blame your mom, your dad, your family. Don't blame women. If you are below average, it is because of you. Everyone's got a sad story. Most people don't grow up with the perfect situation. You can always make something of yourself. All right. We're going to look at dating apps. We're going to look at Hinge, Tinder, and Bumble. And we're going to use this as a framework to understand dynamics, dating dynamics, relationship psychology. Because whether it's online dating, in-person dating, it's the exact same concept, right? It's physical attraction first. You don't walk, girl, you're not going to walk up to a girl and be like, wow, you have such a great personality. No. Just like she doesn't see that in you. She doesn't see your personality. Now, people try to do that with tattoos, piercings, hairstyles, hair colors, the way they dress. They try to make that their outward appearance so people can get an idea what their personality is like. So that's also something to remember too. But we use dating apps to kind of do a deep dive on the psychology here. Green flags, red flags, good, bad, all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the top and we go to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. And I'm just going to briefly read through it and then we'll go back up to the top and I'll kind of break down what this really means. Like, would I say, hey, yeah, date her? Or no, I wouldn't waste your time. I would avoid her because of this, this, and this. Or she's good because of this, this, and this. All right. So start off, we got some pale skin. That is some pale skin. Ideal first date. Going out for a movie and dinner, laughing fun, and sparks will be required. 34 years old, Christian, liberal. Okay, monogamy. The one thing that you should know about me is What? If that is an issue for you and you can't accept me for who I am, then you are not. Okay. All right. I want someone who an open mind. So look at that. Open mind. You never want to date someone who is open-minded because this is the ultimate Trojan horse. This is what it leads to, right? So, all right. Well, let's just start with the obvious. All right. Christian, you cannot be a Christian and a liberal while also. It doesn't work that way. So, obviously that's just all right. All right. All right, typical Sunday, squeezing in the weekend adventure, ski, climb, off road, fly fish, backpack, dirt bike, blah, 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 blah. Okay. 38 years old and a liberal. Life partner. So she's looking for her forever adventure partner, down to make some rad friends along the way. Never date a girl who wants a life partner, because partner in cry that's like a law firm. All right, that's what homosexuals did 15, 20 years ago. Oh, this is my partner. Lesbians, this is my partner. Which is why since 2020, life partner came into the question, right? Before 2020, nobody who was straight was saying, "Oh, I'm looking for a life partner." No, they were saying boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. But it's been psyoped. All right, so 38. Her simple pleasures are freedom and flexibly to life outside of picket white fence. What? Freedom and flexibility to live outside of picket. That's just I can't. That is just I can't even try to make sense of that. All right. She's ice. She's ice climbing for something. Okay. A life goal of hers is many, to name a few. Oh, too much. Okay. All right. Okay, 38, doesn't have kids, doesn't want kids. So if your goal is to eventually have kids, start a family, get married, then she's not for you. You just move on. All right, it's that simple. This would be a waste of time. All right, her simple pleasures are watching a baseball or football game. Okay. 41. Liberal. Okay. So the cowgirl out here. Okay. Okay. A life goal of mine is to travel more. Never want to date a girl who loves to travel. Why is your life goal to travel more? Why isn't your life goal? It can go two ways, right? So, life goal should be, hey, I want to get married, have a family. That's a great life goal. If you don't want that, why isn't your life goal, hey, I want to help the needy, end world hunger, establish world peace, start a business, start an animal sanctuary? No, a life goal of mine is travel more. All right. This year, I really want to work on myself. Why are you dating? Why are you trying to work on yourself and fix past baggage, trauma, bad relationships? Your goal, you're not supposed to, if you ever meet a girl, the first date, first couple dates, And you can feel like you can just tell she is not ready. Like she still talks about her past. She still has hesitancy towards things. She brings up everything kind of like a resume of what she expects, what she wants. Like, all right, this is not a job interview. This is, you're thinking way too analytically about this when it comes to dating. It is really not that serious. All right. So the positives are no crazy tattoos. Yeah, no crazy tattoos, no crazy hair colors, not really overweight. Yeah, so what does she want? Long-term relationship? If you're around her age, maybe, but if you're younger than her, not worth it. All right. This year I really want to go on a hike next to a beach. Okay. 29 years old, Catholic, long-term relationship, 4'6". Interesting. Okay. So 29. Okay. All right. So look, well, the positives are no tattoos. That's good. Give me travel tips for Brazil. Okay. Hmm. All right. So positives are no crazy tattoos, no crazy hair. The height, it's not whatever. Like I'd rather date a midget than a girl who loves to travel and explore and hike and do all these things. And she doesn't have kids, so that's good. So the positives with her are no tattoos, no crazy hair, no crazy piercings, not that overweight, no kids, so not a single mom. Wants kids, Catholic. All right. So for a long term relationship, she'd be a 7 out of 10. All right. 7 out of 10. The traveling is where that holds up her number. She'd be a lot higher. Her rating would be a lot higher if she wasn't so focused on traveling. But still, 7 out of 10 is great. So she would be worth your time, worth your effort. This is the modern woman final boss right here. The tattoos, the lip filler. All right. And the long list. Maron. Look at all that. Green flag she looks for. Okay. 33 years old, long-term relationship. All right. Not overweight. That's a good thing. Okay. One with nature. She geeks out on all of this stuff. Okay. Looks like she's out somewhere hiking. All right. So the positives are not overweight, no crazy piercings, no crazy hair. Yeah, no crazy piercings. Hair color's not that crazy. So long-term relationship. Well, so this is how it really breaks down, right? Is you can give. So this girl can be with two different guys, right? And she's gonna, and both guys are completely different. She is going to come into that guy's life and start picking up his hobbies, his interests. So you may not be a guy that is into hiking, nature, traveling, camping. It doesn't disqualify you, okay? Because if you're someone that can make her feel, right? Because it's all about feelings for women. If you can make her feel important, give her attention, validation, she'll do whatever you want. Even if you never go on a hike or camp again, as long as you're not addicted to weed, video games, or porn, then you're good. So she'd be a 6 out of 10 when it comes to dating. Yeah, she's a solid 6 out of 10 for dating. All right, so even if you're not into nature like that, you still shoot your shot and give it a try because people change, right? Like she was probably not into this stuff 10 years ago. And if you can really bring her into your frame, then you have nothing to worry about. All right, guess where this photo was taken? On a balcony. The way to win her over is offering to take me to church and then we go eat together or see a movie. All right, good. She's 29 years old, art teacher, Catholic, conservative. All right. So she's Catholic, conservative. That's good. And she's looking for a man who puts Christ at the center of his life, values family, and is dating intentionally to get married and start a family. All right, so very good. And this year, she really wants to continue to work on her health and fitness goals and get better at tap dancing. Okay. Yeah. And that's good. She is overweight. So it's good that she's taking accountability and wants to, get into her health, lose some weight. And you should already be proficient in the gym. You should understand how to lose weight, how to build muscle, how to actually work out, exercise. And if you can show her that and help her, because the stuff that she's watching on TikTok is not going to get her results. Two truths and a lie. I love to sing. I've been to 20 countries. Why is that a flex? Why do some people think it's a flex? So I've been to 20 countries. Okay. Explain to me how you're a better person because of that. Explain to me how you're a better girlfriend, a better wife. And her proudest moment is, what is this, college? Her proudest moment looks like college. Okay. Okay. All right. So doesn't have kids, wants kids. That's good. So let's break it down. No tattoos, no crazy hair color, no piercings, church, wants kids, doesn't have kids, conservative Catholic. All right. And she's already trying to work on losing weight, becoming healthier, more into fitness. So, yeah, 8 out of 10. She's an 8 out of 10 when it comes to dating. Yep. That's actually really good. Yeah, really good. The whole traveling thing, you can get her over that. Because if she truly is Catholic, conservative, Christ centered, you know, church, that's family creation. That's settling down. That's marriage. All right. So her lifestyle was going to have to conform to that. And if she's really about it, then she'll let go of all that extra nonsense and she'll love to be a wife, to be a mother. So that's why she's an 8 out of 10 for dating. 8 out of 10. So look at this next chick right here. So a life goal of hers is to travel the world. I'm telling you. All right, 38 years old, Christian and a liberal. You cannot be a Christian and a liberal, cannot be a liberal and a Christian. All right, I'll explain why. Christianity believes in pro-life. Liberalism believes in pro-choice. Christianity believes in gender roles, traditional marriage. Liberalism believes in all the genders. Marry whoever. Same-sex marriage. Christianity talks about being of a sober mind, no drug use. Liberalism is more open to drug use. I'm not talking about hard drugs. I'm talking about like weed. All right. So, unless you can explain to me how you can be a Christian that holds liberal beliefs or a liberal who is a Christian, how those things are compatible, because I see them as being incompatible. She listens to Beyonce. That is an L. All right. So, the good things about her: no crazy tattoos, no crazy hair, no crazy piercings. Christian. Does any of this make sense to you? Just look at everything right here. Look at her life goal: kids, Christian, liberal, life partner. Does any of that make sense to you? How is any of this compatible? How is your life goal? Okay. Interesting that your life goal is to travel the world while you have kids, while being a Christian, while also being a liberal. All right. So I'll explain to you there's nothing wrong with being a single mom, a single dad. Okay. Inherently by itself, that's not wrong. When it comes to dating, the problem is this: you don't want to date a single mom if you don't have kids already. All right. Especially if she doesn't want kids of her own. If she doesn't want any more kids with you, then there's no point unless you have kids already. The two main reasons why you never date a single mom is she's going to put her kids first. She's going to put her career, her traveling, her life experiences, all that. You're lucky to be top 5 in her life. The second reason why you never date a single mom is she's in her masculine energy, masculine frame, right? Because she's had to protect and provide for herself and for her kids. This inherently makes her more masculine, more dominating, more assertive, less submissive, less feminine. Why would you want to date that? Okay. The only reason why a guy wants to date a girl who's more masculine than he is,
What a good boy.
that's exactly why. This is like the lips went wrong. Something went wrong here. The piercing, the lips. All right. 28 years old, liberal. That explains everything. Nope. So those are the Hinge profiles. So let's take a look at Tinder. All right, 34 years old. Got a look here. She wants a long-term relationship. Okay. Got a lot going on there. All right. Doesn't really drink, doesn't smoke. Okay, that's good. All right, that makes sense now. All right. All right, 34 years old. The piercings. Come on. Come on. It's just not worth your time and your effort, all right? It just isn't. All right. So this is Bumble now. So 26 years old. She loves to stay busy, coaching softball, exploring new places. All right. Wants kids, doesn't have kids, Christian. Oh, that's good. Okay, so 26, Christian, no kids. You got to take her somewhere that you can do an activity and have fun. All right, she's a coach. That's good. Okay. Not overweight, no crazy tattoos, no crazy hair, no crazy piercings. Okay. She'd be a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8. For dating, yeah, an 8 out of 10 easy because she doesn't have kids, not overweight, no tattoos, no crazy hair, no crazy piercings. Good. 8 out of 10 for her. Bravo. Okay. All right. You know, let's just let's take a detour, shall we? Let's take a detour. Let's take a detour here.
You get to become
How Hinge destroys society forever. Let's take a look and see. Dating apps are for a woman and rich man. For the average guy, it's a humiliation ritual. It's not true. Why would dating apps want you to find your spouse? They lose 2 customers. That part is true. You can't build a life with someone that hates you on a subconscious level. That's true, but that's it. There's too many guys just think that every woman is a man hater. Okay, it's just not true. It's only half of them. Let's take a look.
You've been single for a while and it's starting to eat at you a little. Time is slipping by quickly and it's not coming back. You should have found the one by now. Your friend is getting married soon. Your roommate's going out on a date tonight with a girl from Hinge. So maybe you should be on one of those apps. That's just how people meet nowadays. It's normal and you're not gonna find someone any other way, so why keep on waiting? So you download Hinge and at first you see beautiful, perfect women. This is amazing. The dopamine's flying. Go by and you drift in a haze, hypnotically swiping left and right, waiting for the next smash notification.
Hypnotically is crazy. It's making it sound like it's this whole magical experience. It's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Time, any matches you do get become worse and worse. Suddenly, those beautiful, perfect women don't show up anymore. But you continue and you message these girls to no response. Sometimes you'll have a conversation and then it fades away, but one of them continues. At least it's something. So you meet up as two strangers connected by an algorithm. You pretend it's not awkward or unnatural and you go on the same mid-dates at the same mid-restaurants and bars with the same mid-people. Over time, you realize you have nothing in common with any of these people.
That's your first mistake. That's your fault. That's not online dating. That's not the girl. It's not the app. It's your fault. If you two don't have similar interests, similar values, who made that choice? Okay. It's clear, right? So it's clear what they put on here. Like there's no hiding. You can tell straight off the bat, right? They tell you what they want. Okay? They tell you. There's never anything really hidden. Now, sure, they could lie. It's always all right there. So that statement's overblown, making it seem like there's, oh, well, you go on these dates now and it just doesn't work out and you have nothing in common. Well, why did you get to that point? It never should even got to that point if you have nothing in common. Every date you go on, you should have something in common with that person.
Try to force it, you're left with the gut punch that maybe this wasn't as easy as it seemed. The solution comes with a notification thing. Hinge Plus subscriptions are now on a discounted summer rate at the perfect time. So maybe it really was just a case of not swiping enough. So you go back to the app over and over and over every day.
And look, this is just the reality. If you're a guy, you have to pay for it. I'm sorry. Because the ratio is so unbalanced from men to women. You have 10,000 guys and maybe a couple thousand girls. So the ratio is 4 to 1 on Hinge. You have to pay for it. That's the only way you're going to truly stand out, because you need to push yourself in the algorithm, right? That's just the reality. And if you can't afford, what, 50, 60 bucks a month, you got bigger problems to worry about.
It day and night. Over time, the subscription discount fades away, and now you're paying full price while the matches begin to dry up. So soon, you're on Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, Riot, 4 subscriptions now draining you weekly.
Never heard of Raya, but we'll see.
This isn't really how it's supposed to be, but there's no other way out. It's just normal. But there is something deep inside of you that you can't shake off. Who is behind these apps? Who is it who's deciding your future partner? Well, it turns out that you've landed in the trap of one man's quest for total power. A man who is single-handedly changing how love, human connection, and families are made forever. But when I tried to figure out who this man behind all of these dating apps really is, I started to realize this was going to be a lot harder than I thought. But it's an important question to ask, because right now, 1 in 5 people under 30 meet their long-term partner with dating apps controlled by one company, Match Group. Who owns all the major dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid, Match.com, etc. And then there's The League, which makes you apply and wait in line to be accepted. There's the OK for black singles, Chispa for Latino singles, and Our Time for people over 50. It extends its grip worldwide. In much of your...
Look, it's a business. This is nothing new. Online dating has existed since the early 90s into the 2000s. No one's deciding anything for you. You're still the one that's making the choice of who you end up with, who you go out with, who you talk to. It's not this doom and gloom.
There's Meetic. In Japan, there's Pairs. Across Asia and the Middle East, there's Azar. So it would seem at the surface level, the man deciding your next girlfriend must be the chief executive of Match.com, Spencer Raskoff.
It's important. It's existential. There's a loneliness epidemic and a mental health crisis globally, and it's driven by the fact that people don't have human connection. And I took this job because Match Group is one of the only companies globally that can make a dent in it. And it's important work, and I'm having a great time.
If you feel lost or lonely, he said...
And this is part of a bigger issue too. With men specifically, you need a purpose in life. That's why so many men struggle with mental health, depression, isolation, loneliness. It's because they don't have a purpose in life. Do something of value. Become a man that can make a difference, right? There's plenty of opportunities. The problem is so many people work a job that it doesn't serve a value. There's no value to it. You're a customer service rep, or you work at the mall and sell shoes, right? You work at a restaurant. Like, I'm sorry, like how does that make you and society better? So as a man, you need to feel like that sense of purpose and value. And you can get that a lot of ways. If you want to get it through your job, you can. Go be a firefighter. Go be a cop. Join the military. Go into the trades. Be a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter. It is that simple. If you don't want to take that route, you can still find purpose in helping others, serve your community, do something of value. You need to do something of importance with your life.
Apps are the answer.
This is the loneliest generation. It's the most digital generation. They actually need our types of services more than anyone.
Now, they don't even want you to make the selection yourself. Their latest idea is Overtone, a dating app where you're interviewed by an AI model that determines your matches. But
the AI matchmaker.
he took the job at the start of 2025, and he's the latest in a chain of executives who are constantly replaced. For once, the CEO is not the answer to who's responsible for assembling this monster. You see, the Match Group is
It's just like any private company, right? It's the board members, and board members serve on the board to make money for their shareholders. So they have to make profit. They're not here to make your life better. They're here to make a profit.
monopoly inside a monopoly much bigger than itself. Peel them back to the board of directors and you find a connection to a vast monopoly called the IAC. It has owned more than 200 companies: Expedia, Ticketmaster, Vimeo, LendingTree, Investopedia, All Recipes, Verywell, and more than 40 of the country's biggest media brands. It's the largest digital publisher in America, and you've probably never heard of it. And it also owns roughly a quarter of the casino empire MGM Resorts, with connections to Disney, Paramount, Universal, the Washington Post, and Coca-Cola. When I was a kid, what I imagined of love was definitely not this, where the most beautiful thing in life is reduced into a mundane function. It's like how you can reduce the beauty and supernatural awe of a butterfly wing into a scientific byproduct by stripping the eternal mystery and richness from its beauty, just labeling it with scientific terms. This reductionist view is taking over everything. It's why love is now becoming a series of statistics optimized for a profit-extracting algorithm for something that should really not have an algorithm involved. I mean, just take a moment to think. Love, family, and marriage, the bedrock of civilization, is being altered by one man. So, who are we allowing to alter these very important things? Well, it turns out that Barry Diller is one of America's many elite monopolizers with a net worth of over $5 billion. When Diller talked about Match, he didn't describe a company that helps people find each other. He described a cash flow machine. Its margins were, in his words, extraordinarily high. This is what it comes down to for them. Your dating life, your romantic chances, your potential of building a family is just a cash flow machine. It's not lost on us that the tech elites is funding the loneliness epidemic they are profiting from, even if it is lost to them. You can see how they don't understand in this interview.
There's been some criticism of dating apps like Tinder. A Vanity Fair called this the dawn of the dating apocalypse. I wonder if you're worried that, the hookup culture and the tyranny of choice might be ruining dating.
Is this the end of anything? Is this the coldness of anything? Cooling down of intimacy or any other or...
Okay, it's not that doom and gloom. The problem is, it's the users. The users are the problem. If you can't find success on an app, online dating in person, it's your fault. It's not the algorithm, not the app, not the girl, not society, it's not your family, how your upbringing. You just make excuses. Just work on yourself, right? Develop yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. That's it. And you can do that in 12 months. You can make yourself better by your physical. The physical is the easiest, the lowest hanging fruit. You go to the gym every day, lift weights every day, run every day, eat the right foods and eat enough foods. Now you have the physical part down. You can do that 12 months. No peptides, no TRT, no steroids, none of that. Financially, if you don't have a good job, get a better job. You can go to school for 4 years for an engineering degree. Right now, the top 10 degrees in colleges are engineering degrees. Okay, it's not these social sciences or all these things that you hear people talking about, how college is a scam. No, you can go to school for 4 years and come out making over $100,000 a year. They range from like 110,000 up to 190,000 starting with these engineering degrees. And if you say, "Oh, I don't like going to school. It's too hard." All right, then you just move on. Then you just accept the fact that you're never going to succeed and do anything of value.
The endless hookupness that is laid at the feet of dating programs, that's all drivel.
He describes romance as an inefficiency to be solved.
So if you were my age, you'd be on these apps? You'd be using Tinder?
Of course I would. Do you think I want to, as I did in my distant youth, do you think I want to go out and wander around, inefficiently? And by the way, the world is not an efficiency or not. It's a boring process.
Nobody's asking for efficiency with this stuff, and it's a mask they hide behind. Tinder is the proof. First of all, your innermost feelings and sensitive conversations are saved and centralized there. On just Tinder alone, people swipe around 1.6 billion times a day, roughly 48 billion swipes a month, producing about 26 million matches every single day. Every swipe, every tap, every pause is recorded with a timestamp, and one estimate puts the data as single user generated.
And I truly think that dating apps are being used as a backdoor by intelligence agencies. The CIA, Mossad, think about it. It's not a conspiracy when you think about it. They're taking all of your data just like they take your data on your phones. When you download an app, you give them access to everything, all the data on your phone. Your internet searches, what you do on social media, that's how they can tailor ads towards you. And dating apps allow for them to do that even more successfully. The next step with dating apps is, why I think it's an intelligence front, just like VPNs are, is that it's data collection, facial recognition. Once we enter that true digital age in the next 10 to 15 years, where digital IDs, digital currencies, that social credit system, cameras everywhere, not to the extent of what China is at, but we are edging closer to that, and dating apps is going to help that. They store your pictures, right? When you go on a dating app, you want to be photo verified. That's a process. That's a step. The next step, ID verified. They're storing your face for facial recognition, your ID for ID recognition, all into a database that they're going to use at some point down the road. That's why dating apps are a front for intelligence agencies to gather intelligence. Why else would you need to verify your ID? And they're not going to let you use your app without you taking selfies of your face. I get it. They say, "Oh, because of bots and scammers." No, that's not true. A third of all the profiles on these apps are fake AI bots anyways, to try to boost the numbers, saying, "Oh, there's all these females on there." No, they're not. It's like a 70-30 split, male to female.
At around 1.5 gigabytes a year. A French journalist called Judith Deportel used European privacy law to request everything Tinder had about her life. After a grim battle,
That's
they
crazy.
sent back around 800 pages of her Facebook likes, her Instagram photos from an account she'd already deleted, her education, the age range of the men.
So I'm saying it's all data collection so they can sell your data to the highest bidder. Because even if you don't pay for the apps, if you don't pay for Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, whatever else, it's free, which makes you the product. They're selling your data, your information.
For, and the time and place of every conversation she'd ever had with a match. The secret was her desirability score, the thing that determines where you're put in the algorithm. If you rate highly, you're pushed to the front. If you rate poorly, your dating life will continue to get worse. And it's probably something that's controlling you right now. You've been on the apps for months, if not years now. You've had matches, you've had dates, you've spent hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars on all of it. So what are you left with? Well, there's two options. You're either isolated, afraid of speaking to people in real life, constantly overthinking your photos. Maybe my funny vanilla prompt is the problem. Maybe I don't look cultured enough, but I am cultured. If only they could see the real me. So you keep changing your profile, agonizing over your new intro lines, your new game strategy.
And look, there's no special strategy to make yourself more presentable. It doesn't matter if you're taking gym photos or you're holding a fish. None of that matters, okay? Make your profile based off of who you are and don't overthink it. There's no perfect prompt, no perfect phrase, no perfect picture. Just be you, because at the end of the day, the person you end up with is going to know who you really are. So don't lie about it. Don't try to be deceitful. And if you don't like how you look, or if you don't like as you're filling it out, like, oh man, I don't have a chance. I'm not successful. I don't have muscle. I'm not overweight. You can still, that's a bigger issue for you. You need to make yourself better. Okay. Using an AI generated photo to make yourself look better doesn't help you in real life. Making yourself sound better than you really are doesn't help you in real life. You need to become better. Take accountability and responsibility for your life to become better in the real world. And then I promise you, girls will come to you. If you focus on yourself for 12 months, year and a half, again, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, instead of getting no action on dating apps, you'll get 30, 40, 50 matches a week. Okay? When I was single on dating apps, that's how it was. In a week, you get 40, 50 matches. And I'm a conservative. I'm looking for marriage. So automatically, I'm at the bottom 20% because those apps predominantly liberal. Okay, because most guys, you got to understand, your competition as a man is the other men. And most guys are what? Overweight, weird, awkward, don't know how to communicate, have no personality. Their personality is smoking weed and playing video games and chilling. All right. The epidemic that they say, it's just so blown out of proportion when really it's just a lot of people are worthless.
As your matches get worse and worse. You know you can do better than this, but the algorithm says no. This is what you deserve. You deserve to beg for the response of someone you're not even attracted to. Or secondly, maybe you're one of the lucky ones and finally struck it off with someone. They then become your partner. In the back of your mind, you're always aware that they weren't the top choice, or the one you actually wanted, but you're the one the algorithm made you settle for.
No one makes you do anything. Nobody makes you settle for anybody except yourself. It's not the algorithm's fault. You're still making the choice.
And as you begin to fall in love with them and imagine your future with them, sometimes a thought will occur to you. Man, was I lucky to find her. Or was I? How long had she been on the app for? How many people had she been talking to? How many profiles did she go through? How easy was it for other men to do the exact same thing as me? Besides, I'm not really that special or attractive, so if I could do it, what about...
And that's your problem. If you think you're not special or attractive, that's your own fault. Go make yourself special. Go make yourself attractive. Obviously, you can't make yourself go from 5'6" to 6'2". But when it comes to what women are attracted to, that is just not the whole picture. You cannot be overweight. So if you're a guy and you struggle with dating, or you struggle with trying to find a girl to talk to, or you struggle with getting matches on dating apps, look at yourself. You could send me your profile and I could tell you right off the bat, why would a girl date you? You're overweight. You're not interesting. You're not confident. You're not demonstrating any type of leadership ability. Why would a girl want to be with you when you're passive, feminine, weak, numb?
everyone else. And if that's the case, then how easy will it be when we have an argument, things go bad, or distance pushes us apart for her to be taken away by those same people on that very same app? Or you think about all the other women you've seen on those apps. What if the one you chose wasn't actually the best one? You know there were hotter people with better personalities who were more thought-provoking, kinder, smarter, more empathetic. What if you matched them instead? Why are you committing to this one if you could have done better? There's thousands of people waiting for you to message them. So why are you putting all of your chips on this one if you're not even sure they're that?
Again, this is all just a personal problem. If you're having this constant thought process of, oh, could I have done better? Is the grass green on the other side? How many guys has she talked to? How many guys are matching with her? You're already setting yourself up for failure. Get out of your head. Okay, get out of your head and go into the real world.
To begin with. The honeymoon phase slowly passes and you argue more, you shout at each other, you lose the attraction and eventually break apart. And as you sit in your room where you started...
Yeah, because you chose wrong. It's that simple. You chose wrong.
You're alone, isolated and bored, feeling time slip through your fingers. So you download Hinge and begin the process again. As for your data, well, that's moved at will across the entire monopoly. A 2020 investigation found Tinder was sharing user information with at least 45 companies owned by Match Group, and that OkCupid was passing users' sexuality, drug use, and political views to an outside analytics company. Each of those apps sorts you in a slightly different way, but the goal is always the same: rank people and decide who gets placed in front of who. Tinder does this with a desirability score. OkCupid asks you hundreds of questions and turns your answers into a compatibility percentage. Hinge uses a Nobel Prize-winning economic theory from the 1960s called the Gale-Shapley algorithm, in which everyone in the pool ranks everyone else, and the app pairs people off in rounds. Here is the current CEO explaining how the monopoly appears to give you freedom of choice.
So you have a portfolio of dating apps. And one of the things that I've always been curious about is, and look, I'm married, so I don't know. What is the distinction in your mind between the different apps? What's the differences?
Our two biggest apps are Hinge and Tinder. So Hinge is for the intentional dater. The tagline is the app that's designed to be deleted. It's supposed to be your last dating app. Tinder is supposed to be your first dating app. Tinder is for possibilities. You might find your soulmate there, you might find a short-term relationship, you might find anywhere in between.
So as you continue using these apps, as you continue to go on dates with people you don't even really like or care about, once your relationships end and you realize there was no spark or magic to begin with, you wonder about your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. The generations of humans for thousands of years that formed relationships with the spark of magic in real life. Looking across the room, making eye contact, working up the courage, the resilience, and the mental...
Nothing is stopping you from doing that. Again, this is placing blame and accountability on technology. Look at yourself. No one is stopping you from going out to a restaurant, a coffee shop, the gym, church, a hike, whatever, making eye contact and talking to somebody. No one's stopping you.
Fortitude to take what you want and risk it all for a future together. But instead, you're falling into this man's plan for you, where the meaning and beauty of your life essence is replaced with simulations of it, decorating your cage so that you think your place in the servant class is freedom. You outsource your thinking to AI, you outsource your experiences to videos at home, you outsource your yearning for companionship to a subscription, and in the process forget the basic skills of life: how to signal interest, escalate, move through dating to marriage, then be happy in marriage. I mean, just look up, stop.
It's all true. That's the sequence.
Moment and reflect on it yourself. Take in the psychological dependence you have given to the screen in front of you. It's unprecedented, and unprecedented things have unprecedented consequences. So I have to ask you, was all this prosperity worth it? Did you really want these changes? Or are you beginning to realize that maybe the endless choice and consumption is destroying you? Maybe there's a reason successful people who get everything they want destroy themselves again and again.
And this started with COVID. Okay, 2020 up until 2022, 2023, where everybody was addicted to their phones, technology, streaming, Twitch, TikTok, dating apps. social distancing, no one talking, no one knows how to communicate. People are afraid to go outside. People are afraid to talk to each other. So then they create the problem and provide the solution. It's almost like this was all by design.
Maybe there's a reason the richest countries in the world are euthanizing their own people. Maybe the convenience is making you dependent. Maybe it is why you feel numb and never really free. Maybe that's why they keep you addicted to the work from home, AI best friend, dating app addict, Uber Eats consuming, constant dopamine fried lifestyle without substance or meaningful life satisfaction. So the question is, what sort of man would be designing this world for us to live in? Before creating the IAC, Barry founded Fox Broadcasting with Rupert Murdoch. He was a director at Coca-Cola and spent over a decade on the board of the Washington Post alongside Warren Buffett.
When I met Rupert, I always wanted to start a fourth network because I thought the three networks were boring. And he said, great. I said, what do you mean great? He said, do it. Well, we have to buy these stations. It cost $1.15 billion. And he said, do it. What could be better?
Despite being 84 years old, look at how many companies he's still part of. He started his career at a Hollywood talent agency called William Morris. By 32, he was running Paramount Pictures as the youngest studio chief executive in Hollywood history. He oversaw Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and many other iconic films and TV shows. He was even responsible for bringing The Simpsons onto the TV at 20th Century Fox. This is an old-school entertainment tycoon through and through, someone you don't become through kindness and goodwill alone. His ferocious style frightened his colleagues, who fondly knew him as Killer Dilla. According to Time magazine, his style was allegedly to be blunt, brutal, and quick to humiliate. He tested people by dropping them into jobs far bigger than they were ready for and watching whether they sank or swim.
I discovered fairly early that the best organizational process was to get smart, snappy people in a room who have opinion and get them clanging against each other with their opinion.
The ones who swam became the most powerful executives in Hollywood. His deputies were called the Killer Dillas.
I've always thought that the best arranging room for that is a group of people who are in conflict with each other, usually past their point of endurance, meaning the longer you push it, I found over time,
Smart.
that when you push people somewhat past their endurance, when they like say, oh, please can I go home? And you won't let them go home, interesting things happen after that.
Michael Eisner was his second in command at Paramount, who left to take over Disney, then a fading studio, and turned it into the behemoth it is today. Katzenberg was another one of his proteges. He then ran Disney's film studio and co-founded DreamWorks with Steven Spielberg. Another ally, Dawn Steele, became the first woman to ever run a major Hollywood studio when she took charge of Columbia Pictures. He trained the people running Hollywood. He's also a massive Democratic Party donor and member of the Council on Foreign Relations, the elite foreign policy body once chaired by David Rockefeller. He placed the ex-president's daughter, Chelsea Clinton, onto the boards of two of his own companies. His wife is a princess by first marriage, old European aristocracy folded into new American money, and his inner Hollywood circle is so powerful that rivals nicknamed it the Velvet Mafia. He also has close allies in the tech industry.
All right, so I think we got the point. Doom and gloom, blah blah blah. It's not that bad. All right. You can still make a difference, you can still do better, you can still always change and become better. And you can get every single one of these girls right here if you wanted it. Every single one. Okay? You can get every single one. It doesn't matter about the algorithm, it doesn't matter about the board members, it doesn't matter about the stockholders. It doesn't matter about society, about your family, about whatever it is. You can have all this if you really want it.